Pak Chandra, Hartono, Jokowidjaja. They don't call you Jokowi for a nickname, right? You better change it if it is. Okay. Pak Chandra, you began your career as paddy procurement officer here in Indonesia. You're an Indonesian native, but you now live in Thailand. You are the marketing director at Ponglop Company, which has sold and traded millions of tons of rice globally. Can you tell us a little bit about your company's procurement practices, and do they help your company's practices in the equitable distribution of benefits to a producer?
Thank you very much, Mr. Dalton. Thank you for the audience for having me here. I'm Chandra from Ponglop, and I'm coming here also representing Thai Rice Exporter Associations. In regards to the questions, how our procurement practice in Thailand for the big exporting company, we are one of them, there are three main types of procurement that we normally do on daily routines. The first is the direct procurement from the exporting company to the rice mills in Thailand, whether it can be a single procurement based on the needs of what is actually demanded by our end customers, maybe from Asia or from Africa or globally, or we have a continuous procurement, which we have an alliance with associated mills that supporting our company, and in return, these associated mills, they also have the associated farmers and farmers cooperative that's supplying the paddies for them. The second type of procurement that we have is the procurement through a local broker. This is very common because with the export volume that we have, it's very difficult for only like few groups of rice mills to provide us with the materials. So there's come the involvement of the local brokers, which they will be the one who assisting us to contact few rice mills, where in Thailand there are about 2005 rice mills, small and big, and only about 900,000 is currently active. It's be very difficult for one single exporting company to be in touch always with 900 rice mills also. So the brokers, they will be the middleman between the exporters and the rice mills, and they be informed mainly in the early days of the trade what the exporters requires, and then through their connection they're contacting the source of supplies or mills. And the way the exporters deal with those brokers mainly is two types. One is a day-to-day single procurement, like we will inform them what we need on a daily basis or weekly basis. Or the second method is a continuous procurement, because we, as the exporter, we must always have a buffer stock. And it's very important for us to have a very good and fresh buffer stock that we can keep for a longer period of time. Then the local broker will again assist us to select which area during that harvesting period is actually having a good crop, and which mill actually processing these crops, and how far can we go to negotiate and achieving our stock by negotiating through the brokers. And of course, the last procurement system that exists in Thailand is the procurement of the government rice. As we all know, rice is very sensitive issue in all the agriculture country, both in terms of pricing and political. Thailand government have always tried to maintain the price stability of their rice. At the same time, is to increase the income of the farmers, which is kind of like difficult, because when we talk about the farmers, Thailand start to shifting from agriculture country to become more of the industrial country, where there's quite a number of populations also now buying rice as their expenses. So the government have to balance the cost of the rice itself, so it will not be a burden for people who's not in the agriculture industries. So far, the government have done a very good program and scheme that helping the farmers. And at one stage, the government have to also release the rice that they have on stock, which mean by mainly selling it to the global market by doing export. And as the exporter, it's our duty and obligation to buy the rice from the government as a competitive level during that period of time. And the way the government will release the rice to us, they could be doing it through a tender, to an open tender, to a closed tender, or recently using a direct negotiation in order to maintain the price stability. Because what normally happens when, as soon as the government announce, there'll be a government rice tender, then naturally the local market will react by, government will release a lot of rice, then the exporter will not buy more rice from the mills, so the mills try to reduce their price. And by doing that, they're pressuring the farmers to sell the paddies to them at cheapest price. And Thailand government and us as the exporter, we try to avoid that. So that's why the direct negotiation system now being also introduced by the government, just try to maintain the stability of the paddy price and the rice price in the local market. Also, we have to remember, like, farmers is a very simple person. When the price is good, then they will start to keep on planting more and more rice. But so unfortunate for them, they don't have much bargaining powers in terms of buying the supply of the good seeds, the fertilizers, and the petrol that they need to use to cultivate their rice. The support from the government is really needed, and support from the research institute to improve the seed and the yield of the crop of production is really necessary. And there's a lot of program that has been done by the government of Thailand in collaboration with International Rice Research Institute in Philippines to develop the yield of the rice in Thailand, because even though Thailand has been in the past few decades as the #1 rice exporter in the world, amazingly the yield of production of rice in Thailand is the lowest in Southeast Asia, which we only can get about 2.9 metric ton per hectare, comparing with Indonesia, where we can have easily 4.1 to 4.5 metric ton per hectare. So that's why it's very important for the involvement of the both private and the government sector to help the poor farmer to increase the production yield. And finally, in also to maintain the price stability among the region, if we talk in a smaller scale for ASEAN, for example, we as the exporter and the government, we start to propose, or we brainstorming how to actually create a win-win situation between importing country and exporting country. For example, like Indonesia as importing country, just to hear the word importing rice, it doesn't sound good for a country itself, you see. And of course, as an exporting country, a neighboring country in ASEAN, Thailand tried to encourage the export of their rice globally, including to Indonesia. So what we're trying to do is to make like a body or a discussion panel on how to solve this situation where we're in the same ASEAN nation, where one country is shortage of rice and the other country is on the excess of rice, and how to harmonize this, the supplying, to maintain the supply and demands between these two countries without creating any resistance or disadvantage for any of the country. finally, by creating a more harmonized collaboration among the Asian countries to maintain the food stability and security, it will actually develop the income of the farmers at both countries, in fact, because the farmer in both countries, they're actually also a customer since they also eat rice, right? And if the price of the rice is too high at one stage, it will not actually benefit the end farmer itself. Thank you very much, Mr. Dalton. And
All right,
thank
Pak
you for
Chandra.
having me here.
Panelists, any comments or reactions or questions for Pak Chandra from what you've heard? I saw some heads shaking like, at that point, Any comments, panelists? Yes.
I think I have a comment about this, Pak Chandra. I think I need to challenge you about the rice production that you're saying Thailand is the lowest production yield. The information that we have here is we are the lowest production yield, but I think we have to take the general. In production yield of the rice in Indonesia, some companies have a very high production yield, and some companies are, which is smallholders, farmers, they have a very low. So in general, I think Indonesia is a lot less than Thailand, because I think we need to clarify this, whether Thailand is the lowest production yield in the region.
Everybody's fighting for that honor? Is that what you're saying, Pak?
Well, the data that I use is actually from IRI, International Rice Research Institute, and it's been quite generally known that Indonesia, on average, they're producing not less than 4 metric tons per hectares, while Thailand is well known, unfortunately, is well known to be the lowest yield paddy yield productions per metric ton per hectares. Mainly because of the farmers in Thailand, they would like to grow rice as much as possible. So they use a lot of fertilizers, so the soil itself is start to deteriorate in terms of the quality, like that.